the end of the night comes, I'm like, please let me get this. Sean's like, you don't have to, we're good, whatever. I forced myself into getting this bill. When it came, man, I don't want to say that whatever it was, the gulp, like.
So obviously being a professional footballer.
Yeah, I know, it was tough.
It is tough, right?
Yeah, it was tough,
From a guy with a 9 to 5, you know, we have a lot of misconceptions about footballers, you know, whether you guys pick up tabs or at the club or, you know what I'm saying, get your hair cut every day, you know, 60 minutes before the game. There's a bunch of different things that footballers do. Yeah. So we're going to run through a couple of them.
I can't talk about the haircuts.
We love that shiny bald head, brother. We love that. All right. Football's biggest misconceptions. Footballers always pick up the tab at restaurants and nightclubs. Is that true?
I think the footballers I was around did. I know I did. One too many. I wish I didn't.
I know you had some nights.
Yeah, but I think for sure when I was bringing the guys out, whoever I'm going out with, especially if they're younger than me, I'm definitely picking on the tab.
Yo, so let's say it's a night out with the mandem, you know what I'm saying? The tab getting hefty though.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? You're looking at the bill.
I've had some of them where I'm like,
yeah, you're looking at the bill and you're like 4 figures is 5 figures. Like you're looking at it like, damn, like that was the Bel Air was how much?
Yeah, no.
So have you ever had a situation where you looked at a bill like, nah, fam, like guys got to give a little bit?
I've had situations where I should have done that, but I'm one of those people like an idiot. I was too proud. You know what I mean? I remember one time I went to Vegas with my brother, Sean, and the Chelsea squad. Can't remember what year this was, and I remember for most of the trip they were looking after me. They were doing. I was the young guy there. Whatever. I think I was at Southampton.
So on Chelsea, who was there at the time?
It would be my bro, Joe Cole, Ashley Cole, Wayne Bridge.
That's a squad.
This kind of squad. Okay, yeah.
So you guys are roaming Vegas together.
And I remember, bro.
That's a
bad squad. That's a bad squad.
I told Sean, I'm like, you guys have been paying everything. Like, I feel like you know what I mean? Like I'm being babysit. Let me pay.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
Did you get your bonus at that time?
Bro, I was doing all right, bro. I was playing champ, you know what I mean? So I was all right. So whatever. So yeah, the end of the night comes, I'm like, please let me get this. Sean's like, you don't have to, we're good, whatever. I forced myself into getting this bill. When it came, man, I don't want to say that whatever it was, the gulp, like. I looked at this receipt for so long. And that's when I learned to shut my mouth. Man. Shut your mouth, brother. You talk too much, and now you have to pay for it.
Yo, it'd be so crazy, bro, because I've had those experiences. You're out in Miami, you know what I'm saying? Let's say if I'm out, for example, if I'm with like Joshua Xerxes, I'm like, nah, fam, like, you know what I'm saying? Let me give you like a little $100. He's like, yo, fam, like,
chill.
Like,
just relax.
Because what is that? Like, you know what I'm saying? What is that? But, you know, at least I'm offering.
He's on that money.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, obviously, like, I'm an offer, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not like the type of dude just be hanging around.
As a man, offer,
at least I'm going to give a little something, you feel me? But I get it, though. There comes a time where it's like, there's levels to this.
Yeah, exactly.
You feel me?
To be fair, me in like a Brooklyn dive bar and it's like beers more than $8. I'm like,
Jesus, bro.
What's going on here?
All right, next one. Footballers are always into luxury goods and fashion.
I think the majority are, especially when you see it on social media now. A lot of the players have the high-end stuff. I don't know, just being in changing rooms and being around people, it wasn't always that. It wasn't always. It's high-level stuff, but for most of the senior players and stuff, it's not too flashy.
Were you ever into that kind of stuff? Like, would you buy some nice...
When I first broke through, I wanted Gucci. I wanted all these things, Louis Vuitton.
The Range Rover.
That's like your Range Rover. I had these things. And then now, if you see me, I'm very plain. Always an older pair of trainers on. I like to wear black.
Those are nice.
But you go through a stage when you first start getting some money for yourself.
For sure. You got to get the Gucci bag, the LV
Yeah.
toiletry bag. You know what I'm saying? Pull it up.
I've been there. But
do you remember what like you spent your first paycheck on? Or like, I know, let me
I know what you mean.
that.
Yeah, go on.
What was like the first like luxury item you bought? Like, oh my God, I got money. I've got to buy
that.
Yeah.
I bought watches. I bought cars. I'm just not. I was never flashy. I was always doing it for someone else. I'm very I'm very like, you know what I mean, laid back about my clothes. Like I said, it's all black hoodies, tracksuits. From Southeast London, we wear like tracksuits.
Bare tracksuits.
Yeah, so
roadman attire.
I'd say probably a Range Rover. When I started, maybe a Range Rover.
They say that in the UK, that's the car that gets nicked the most, bro. You can't even get insurance for it anymore.
Is
like
it?
The Range Rover, probably. They be robbing that. Let me ask you something. They always say like, you know, the footballers in the other generation, you know, they weren't on social media. They had it like that. If Instagram and all that existed back then, do you think those footballers like Roy Keane and stuff would be on socials?
If it was like that's a great question. When you see Roy Keane's personality, it don't seem like he would ever have had like.
But we
social.
say that though. But we see all the legends on.
Because the world's changing.
He wants to be on TV.
But at the same time, though, Roy Keane's posting his clips on his gram.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So that's the way the world's moving.
Yeah, but I'm saying like if that existed back then, of course I feel like they would be on it
because it will be the norm.
Yeah.
So I guess so.
I would love to see like Cesc Fabregas throwing that pizza at like Sir Alex Ferguson. Someone got it on video. That would have been crazy, fam. I love the old beef on social media nowadays.
Or when Fergie kicked the boot in Beckham's head.
In Beckham's head, someone had that on video,
Yeah.
bro.
Guys, remember the days in Twitter when Wayne Rooney hadn't figured out how to tweet yet?
Oh yeah, those were the days when it was
Mr.
unfiltered.
Bean, funny.
Well, what does he do?
I missed those.
It would just tweet just like random.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He would tweet at Rio Ferdinand saying, "Hi Rio, do you want picking up from the train?"
Yeah,
Morning,
training.
pal." On a tweet.
He thinks it's like emails.
Yeah.
He doesn't know.
It's so good.
Next one: footballers happy when they get benched for rest.
No, there's impossible. I don't think any footballer's happy to be rested. That's my opinion.
So even if you weren't feeling like 100%, you got a bit of a knock or whatever, you'd still
I want to
play me.
I remember being asked these. Do you want to rest? We're thinking about resting you this week.
Oh, you get
I'm
asked?
thinking, sometimes you can do. We're thinking about resting you this week
Yeah.
with this game coming up or whatnot. Nah, for me, no, because I was always thinking about my goal ratio. I'm thinking if I miss this game,
Oh, that
this
is
striker over
scores.
here scores, but he's ahead of me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
That is true. I feel like that also people don't take that in account to like how many games they're playing now.
Yeah.
Players are playing way more games than what you were used to back in the day, like 65 plus games a season.
true.
Do you think if you were playing as many games that players are playing now, you would have that initiative, or you'd be like, damn, like I'm actually tired for real?
Yeah, it's hard to say. It's hard to say.
I mean, you hear that from the old generation a lot, though. Like, when you watch pundits now, I feel like a lot of them will say, like, I just want to play.
Yeah.
Do you know
but
what I
it's
mean?
easy to say that because you're not
that's what
playing
I'm
these
saying.
many.
That's what I'm saying. It's like,
Yeah.
well, it's easy for you because you're not having to play full
Exactly.
intensity.
Like,
I think I would have to see a dip in my form to where I'm saying I can't do it.
can't
I literally can't even.
Yeah.
You know,
Because it's crazy to me, because like the season where R9 won the Ballon d'Or for Barcelona, he had 48 goals in 52 games or something like that.
And
Do you
that's a
like
lot of
R9
games.
or
And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, bro, 52 games was probably the most he ever played in a season in his whole career.
That was probably like
Yeah.
a lot. Again.
That was a lot for him, you know, injuries and all that. And you have players playing 65 plus season after season after
Yeah.
season,
It's too much.
bro. It's a lot, bro.
It's too much.
It's a lot of games. Next one. Footballers spend their first big wages on a big purchase.
It depends. I think it depends where you're coming from, what kind of background.
Yeah.
I think if
True.
if
Yeah.
you're used to having a bit of money, I don't think that's going to impress you. You know what I mean, I think
But I feel like for a lot of footballers, though, they do come from families that might not be as well off.
Yeah.
So how did you ever monitor like people who are like maybe looking at you like, yo, BWP just made it, fam. Like I'm trying to hang around him for a little bit. Like how did you manage those like situations and friendships?
I've got the same group of friends and obviously my family members. That doesn't change. But I was one of those very tight knit group. You know, I got the 4 guys in my head that I was with from academy to even now.
Really?
You know what I mean? Yeah.
the
So
gang.
I didn't struggle with that. You know, there's people that you're gonna meet in nightclubs or bars or when you're going on holiday that you might talk to every now and again, but there's no one just leeching off me.
Do you think nowadays, like if you were a footballer nowadays, you'd be into like the fashion stuff like Jewel Kounde and those guys like dressing
No.
up, going to training camp?
No.
You would never be a training camp? You'd never be a training camp fashion, brother?
Nah.
Why, fam? I would.
Yeah, but that's because this is
listen.
your generation, man.
Yeah.
My older guys were. If I came in with something like that at training, I don't know if you guys are too young to remember like a Ben Thatcher, David James,
David James,
brother,
yeah.
Richard Dunn. These guys, if I walked in, Joey Barton, if I walked into a locker room with these kind of clothes on, they will get burned, and that's not even a lie.
Like they would
with a lighter,
literally burn.
they will burn your clothes.
But I find that funny because I feel like if Joey Barton and David James, if they played now, they'd be all over that.
David James would be a little bit. He was
Yeah, I
messing
think
around
he
with
would
his
for
hair
sure
a
because
lot,
when he had the
wasn't
braids and that, you're telling me David James wouldn't be on Graham?
Yeah.
Come on
Oh,
now.
defo.
Defo.
Football in my time, you just had to be humble.
Yeah.
That
do
was
your
it.
work, shut
Head
up.
down.
Yeah, especially when you're young.
Do footballers actually hate their rival club?
I did. Like when I played for City, I used to, even playing against Man U in the academy, I hated them.
Hated
It was
them.
bred in me to hate this team.
Really?
Yeah, of course. I'm an Arsenal fan. I hate Tottenham. You know what I mean?
Looks into the camera.
I think,
It's a
Yeah.
real thing. It's a real thing. Everybody's friends on the team.
no.
Have you, no. Have you been in Have you ever been in any locker rooms where it was like really toxic, like to the point where it's like, yo,
Yeah.
like you don't have no brothers on the team. Like you're coming into training, speaking to no one.
Yeah, I've been on teams like that where, not to where I don't speak to people, I feel like I can get on with most people. You know what I mean? But I've been in
If
locker
not,
rooms
you
where.
faked it for an hour.
Yeah. But I think I've been in changing rooms, where there's a group of guys that don't really mess with them, don't really talk to each other. They're not going to talk to each other on the pitch. But I don't know, man. When I got to Red Bull, I remember playing with Thierry, and Thierry was a big believer in that. You don't have to be friends, but we just got to be on the same page when we get on the pitch. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of football clubs, not everyone's best friends. I think it helps if there's a good camaraderie in the group, but it's impossible.